Thank you very much. Yeah, but I don't know which direction Sukers is referring to that she says we are taking, but I don't know which one were we supposed to take. But also, I think let me probably use this opportunity to say that, firstly, Honorable Adwans has covered me that there was this bill we were briefed by, but there was parliamentary services when we were briefed on how to proceed. We were all there, those who were there. And we have proceeded. Now, we are told of procedural issues. And that is Mpumalanga mentioned. Mpumalanga, by the way, you would recall we have stopped it and reconvened it. So I don't know what procedure. And I don't know out of us who is not a human that would not make a mistake. Because it was just a human mistake and we have agreed to that. We have proceeded. Peter Maritzburg. I don't know how you isolate a Peter Maritzburg. And to me, it's worse when a member of the committee would make videos of something she says it's procedurally wrong. When it suits you, isolate yourself. You are not part of the collective. You name the bill the way you want. You undermine everybody in this committee. You become the spokesperson. You see the bill the way you want. And we must accept because we are at the receiving end. When you want to bullshit, and I'm saying it, everybody, you do it.
Point of order, Chair.
Advocate Misa
Point of order, Chair.
has been undermined here. No.
Chair, just
Advocate
just
Misa
keep it calm.
has
Chair,
been undermined
Chair.
here.
Chair.
We kept quiet.
Point of order, Chair. Chairperson.
There is this doctor from DPU. Who is it?
Chairperson. Point
Doctor.
Of order, Chairperson.
I will come to your order. I'm chairing the meeting. I will
Point
come
of
to your order.
It's the rules of parliament. Point of order, Chairperson.
Order. You can speak,
Chairperson,
not that.
As per the rules of parliament, we're not supposed to use foul language or unparliamentary language. I know that you're passionate as you speak, but can you please refrain from doing that?
I apologize.
Please address each other.
I apologize.
Please, Chair.
Advocate Misa has been said very wrong things. We kept quiet. To an extent, she had to excuse herself. Because a sitting individual is not happy. We never fought. There's a doctor that presented here. What's the surname? McStuffin or what? Huh? Goodstuffson. Was undermined in our meetings. We kept quiet. Our staff has been sent from pillar to post. We kept quiet. A member of this committee has went viral to the whole country speaking on behalf of this committee when she is not a spokesperson of this committee. We kept quiet. Members of the public have been giving wrong information, I repeat it, deliberately to say something is wrong with. Now our staff is made to say that they cannot count. We must still keep quiet because we want the processes to unite us. No one has the monopoly of wisdom alone. No one. And as I have said it, we are coming from different school of thoughts, and what makes people to think that they have one wisdom, which is the wisdom that must be countrywide, it's very wrong. All of a sudden now, these are provincial reports, parliamentary services have not been part of it, but all of a sudden, it has been minutes. You can't. When you want to be part of the process, we must allow you. When you want to chip out of the process, we take you out. When you want to come, it's like you are playing a ding-dong here. We must just dive, Tina. I rule that we move with this agenda.
On a point of order, Chair.
Must we not move with the agenda?
I think you have addressed me, Chair, and I have a right to respond.
I've ruled that we move with the agenda.
Well, Chair, note the objection, my objection to this agenda as it is being presented. It is not in response to any other thing but the issues raised in terms of the responsibilities of this committee. So
I have made a ruling.
object.
I have made a ruling.
Well, Chair, I
have made
the
a
right to
ruling, not
object.
that. Can you please lower your hand?
I just want you, Chair, to know.
No. Can you
as per
please
the-
lower your hand?
As per the rules of Parliament, Chairperson, once you've said you're moving, you've adopted the agenda, please just note our objection with the agenda and moving with the process that does not have a National Treasury report nor a Parliamentary Legal Services
Fine,
report.
thanks you.
Just note
It's
that
fine.
objection.
We are noting that. Can we then get
Chairperson,
the report? Can we then correct last week's report to adopt it?
Chairperson,
If there are any corrections. Are you also objecting?
please, yes, thank
Okay,
you.
I've noted. Can we correct the report and move to adopt the report of last week?
Chair,
Muratsetla?
Yeah, Chairperson, I've gone through the report. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise that the report was deferred to today for adoption. It is true that it was well presented, but I have realized something which I think for purposes of reference, it needs to be captured in that report. The point that, you see, having gone through all through the 9 provinces, I think going to the bill itself and listening to what the people were saying, it is worth mentioning that it is true that our people during the public hearings, they generally misconstrued the contents of clause number 8 and the intended goal by the department. I thought that in itself is something worth to be, unless if I'm the only one who might have seen that, worth to be noted in the report, that clause number 8 was wholly misconstrued and misinterpreted. And then we will see when we come clause by clause if we have to definitely to stick to what the people said or to it. Number 2, the other clause which I think it was observably misconstrued was clause number 37 on the home scholars. Those are the things which I felt the report should indicate to us. Thank you. And clause 41 also. Those 3 clauses, thank you.
So you are saying the clauses have been misunderstood?
And then it must be noted that they've been misunderstood.
Okay. Clause 8, 37 and 41. You are taking note, no? Right. Noted.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I've got quite a few comments and questions for the report. As you may be aware, I'd written to you initially when we first received the written submission report. There was a presentation that was done for us in this meeting, and it indicated what were the submissions that were written. There was MS Word, there was emails, and so on. Now, if we go back to the process, we had, as per the report, we had the first submissions were written submissions. We extended the date until the 15th of August. The written submissions that were there were around 18,000, 17,452 to be exact as per this report. Now, I want to understand how is it that there were only 6,715 of those 17,452 that were submitted by people. And then we analyze less than a third of that entire submission. I just want to understand the rationale because it's not given here in this report. Because when we consider public participation, if there are 17,452 submissions at the written point, then you've got organizations that come and present on an oral submissions, which they were sitting in this room. Then we went to public participation in different 9 provinces and people spoke on the bill. When you tally the numbers in terms of the submissions analyzed, there's a discrepancy there. So the first question for me is, why was the 6,715 analyzed and then the remainder of that, of the 17,452 was never analyzed? It means that we've got close to 9,500, if not more, written submissions that were never analyzed at all, whether from a qualitative point of view in terms of what they believe in terms of the 56 clauses, or a quantitative argument in terms of the numbers. Because now we're sitting with a report that says, look, of those that were analyzed, we've analyzed 6,700, 87% were no, these percentages were in support, and then we go to the oral submissions. These organizations didn't support, these ones did support. When we went to public participations, this support, this didn't support. The qualitative arguments, I think, from the public hearings are covered in terms of the report. But my biggest fear in terms of adopting the discrepancy in the report is that you're sitting with almost a third of the total submissions that were never analyzed from the reading of just this report and the report that was presented to us the first time we spoke. So that's my first question. So when you also look at what the report is about, because I would assume that the people that draft the report would know exactly this is the amount that was submitted, this is what we analyzed, and this is the outcomes, and this is the total number. We're sitting with 32,941 that has been explained to us as submissions. But the actual total number is 34,509. And of that, 9,500 has not been analyzed at all. And this is not me saying it, it's the same report. So we need to make sure that, Chair, when we continue to a clause-by-clause process, we've got an accurate report. And that's why I requested that let's not analyze this thing 24 hours before. Let's be given time to read it so that we can understand the discrepancies. And when I wanted to ask questions last week, maybe they would have been able to prepare the answers for me today. That's why I had initially said, why not we ask clarity-seeking questions? Because they were glaring. They were there in our faces. So that's the first thing. The second thing, Chair. Okay, that's the third thing. Yeah, the third thing, Chair. The submissions that were made, that a courier box arrived. There's a courier box that arrived with 11,400 and some odd submissions, or 700 odd some submissions. Then you've got Dear BELA Bill that has submitted emails. You've got other organizations that have submitted submissions. Dear BELA Bill and other organizations' submissions are taken as one submission, even though there's thousands of people, 29,000 people that objected to this with points, qualitative arguments. Then you get a courier box of 11,700 people. Then we rush to go analyze that 11,745 people that submitted on that courier box, and it's taken as individual submissions. So I want to understand, what is the rationale of having two different approaches to the submissions that are made by the public? One, you analyze a box individually, overlooking, by the way, the 17,452 submissions that were made before that box arrived. And we focus on that, and we take a different approach when it comes to Dear BELA Bill and other organizations that would have submitted via email and also made physical submissions. And then the third question for me, part of the minutes that are adopted on the 1st of August, including the things I raised before, it's a pity that now today we have amnesia, or we forgot. I'd made a request, Chair, to have a breakdown on the matrix, analyzing the breakdown of submissions per clause, to say that on these particular clauses, these are the amount of submissions, these are the qualitative arguments. Can I ask, are we still going to get that matrix as part of this report of the written submissions? What is the breakdown of them in terms of the matrix, clause by clause? And I just want to put it to you, Chair, in this way, so that everybody understands that there seems to be no explanation in terms of this Excel spreadsheets that were submitted in terms of MS Teams and the emails in terms of the report. It seems like it's bundled into one. I don't know whether it's separated or not, and maybe we can get clarity on that. But under point number 9, there are two categories, namely Excel spreadsheet rechecked on the 5th of August as per the report, and then comparing the numbers on point 6.1 of that. It seems that these both are counted as email. That's why I asked the question. email submissions. And under 6.1 as well, you see that these categories have been contained in two different percentages of views. Email category of 87.3% and then MS on 94.8%. So I wanted to check the 6.7 that you talk about in that particular category. Is it emails or is it MS Word? What is it? So that we can get a clear indication. And then, based on the analysis of all of this, Chair, if we're to tally the numbers together with the percentages and the reports that has been given to us, you'll find that 14,900 submissions would have supported the bill, 18,422 submissions would have not supported the bill, 1,446 would have partially supported the bill, 1,326 would have been undeclared. So I just wanted to get clarity on that, on those discrepancies. That will inform how we obviously deal with the report at a later stage. Thanks, Chairperson.
No, no, thank you very much, Chair. I would have wanted to raise a point of order, but I felt let me allow Honorable Nodada to finish off his questions. The point of order I would have wanted to raise, Chair, is on the presentation Honorable Nodada makes. That seems to suggest that he was running a separate back office process to analyze submissions individually. That also raises an issue of testing that process. Because if we are to agree to this method, it means we must also test the process used that makes Honorable Nodada come to these numbers. And if we are unable to do that as a committee, I would suggest that responses of a nature that suggests there's a separate back office process be withheld, because it means we must audit his process. Because he's too specific on individual submissions, too specific. But who would have audited that back office process? So are we now a committee who are going to audit two parallel processes? One done by Parliament, the other done by Honorable Nodada. I would suggest, Honorable Chair, that we veer off from that trap, because it requires an audit. If you are to respond to this, it means now we must match what Parliament has done with what Nodada's back office has done. We are not going to finish. That's my order, Chair.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I want to also just respond to what earlier you referred directly with me. I'm not able to respond because, like I said, it's vague, it's general. I cannot respond to that. No, I think, Chair, you addressed something and you put it up in public, and I think it needs to be responded to. Okay, then I would accept that, and I will.
Can I finish? We are not there now. We will wait till you are the chairperson of the committee in this parliament. And when that day comes, we will give you the respect. Tina, from the other side. Can we adopt this report?
Chair, can I? I need to respond to the report. You cannot stop me. As a member of parliament, you cannot stop me, Chair. You cannot stop me. According to the Powers and Privileges Act of this parliament, I'm a member of this parliament and I am supposed to... Yes, and you cannot stop me from responding to a report.
Order, Chair.
You cannot.
Order, Chair.
This is not my agenda.
Order, Chair. Chair, order, Chair.
I objected to the agenda.
Order, Chair. Order, Chair.
Order, Chair.
Okay. Chair. Chair, I would want this meeting to refrain from having a dialogue. Can I proceed, Chair? I would call an order that we must not entertain dialogues. Let us respect procedures of the meeting. Whether they suit us or they don't, let us respect procedures of the meeting and avoid having dialogues. And as a word of advice to all of us, I would like to request that we try and be as calm as possible throughout the proceedings. But let us respect procedures of the meeting. If you, Chair, make a ruling, members know that to submit an objection, what they must do, and let's proceed as such. But let's avoid dialogues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just indulge me for just 5 minutes. If you go to page 37, and now you'll maybe understand if you do this calculation yourself, you'll see the discrepancy that is reported on an official document. So hence the questions, I think, comes in where we are ourselves now unsure. Because if you do the calculation on what is given here, there's a discrepancy. Even on this things, that is our parliamentary report, we cannot adopt something that's not right. If you sit there, even the principal, he's got a calculator on his phone. If you do those calculations, you'll see there's a discrepancy. 37, page 37. So I think just maybe do that, then you'll see where our suspicion might come from. Thank you, Chairperson.
Modula Studio, once more good morning, and not long it will be good afternoon. I think we are missing the mark. I'm saying we, and as far as trying to correct this report, the national report is concerned, the approach we are taking, I think we are missing the mark. And in biblical terms, to miss the mark is to sin. Yeah. We are sinning. Yeah. No. You see, if people want to correct, I'm getting in on a procedural matter. Can I be protected from my lieutenants on the left? Okay. Thank you. Chair, I am rising on a procedural matter. We are missing the mark in this way. I was the pioneer in indicating what should be included in the report, which is not. And now I realize we want to correct the report and at the same time discuss it. It's procedurally not correct. And because I think Honorable Nodada might be having a point, which point was in a way disputed by Honorable Yabo, when he said, you see, if you bring a point of your own vision, we will also love that point to be subjected to scrutiny and testing and all the like. What Honorable Nodada could have done to assist the process is to indicate that I am in disagreement with the tallying of numbers on page this and that as compared to this and that, and it be added there. But if he would still love to pursue it, he can write down that based on what I have submitted, can we make a sort of an audit in as far as the numbers are concerned. But that in itself cannot stop this report from being adopted, because it is a different process altogether to verify. It's something which cannot be done before it's a prerequisite for the adoption of the report. So the manner in which we submit our objection is flawed, it's unprocedural, it's unrunning the meeting, the way in which meetings are supposed to be run. And hence, Chairperson, if there are no any further correction or no any other addition to the report as presented last week, I rise here and now to move that this report be adopted with all those highlights as put by other honorable members. Thank you very much.
Sukers.
Yes, Chair. In terms of what has just been said by Principal, we last week moved both the adoption and the discussion on the report to this week. That was my understanding when we met last week. And I'm going to refer to the issues around meaningful public participation and why it is important for us to consider every single submission, or if it has not been done, to address the matter of submissions that has not been processed. Chair, I'm going to refer to a Constitutional Court judgment in the Mukhali matter regarding the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Bill. Parliament was found to have failed in its...
Point of order, Chairperson. Just on a point of order. I think this is according to the Parliament rules.
To stand up, is it according to parliamentary rules?
Yeah, no. The rules will also allow me to either speak standing or what. There is nothing in the rules, in the rule book, that will stop me. Chairperson, I have moved that the report be adopted. And in the first place, it is the duty of the chair to check if there is a seconder to that. And after seconded, another way going forward is the responsibility of the chair to check if there is an objection. Then that's where Sukers can get in. She cannot discuss something before my motion of moving is seconded or not seconded. Thank you.
Point of order, Chair.
No, but what are you putting order on now, Sukers?
No, he's saying it tried to be seconded.
Because now you can't argue
I
this with
defeated the chair. And it's very close to me.
Who?
What if I lose myself? I'm fine.
No, but where are you coming in? Sukers was on the floor. Let's
Yes,
allow
sir.
her to.
Is my question seconded?
No, wait.
I just wanted to say, Chair.
It's not your turn to speak. Continue, Sukers. Can you please separate from each other, you two? If you can't, keep quiet.
Shall I proceed, Chair? Chair, as I've highlighted, and I think it has been highlighted by Honourable Bongiwe around the numbers and the fact that the numbers does not correlate, and the fact that there is a significant amount that has not, in terms of the report, been processed or accounted. And in the letter that I wrote to you, I said that I'm concerned that in the report it refers to email submissions and that the remainder is not processed. And I said there that it needs to be urgently clarified, as it has a serious implication for the committee's ability to deal with the clause by clause, because we as a committee must give a regard to the public submissions that have been made. Parliament has a duty in terms of Rule 286 of the National Assembly rules to consider the public comments it received
Can you correct the report, Sukers?
I don't understand
No.
why, in
No.
a meeting of Parliament,
Can we-
I am
can
being
we-
restricted
can we-
when I'm dealing with a matter that's on the agenda, Chair. I don't understand why it is that it continues to happen and then that I am being accused then when I am doing my job, that I am
No, we are doing
trying
your kid's job.
to chair the meeting. I'm not. What
No,
I'm
we're
trying
doing
to
your
do is
kid's
to do
jobs.
my work.
But what you are referring to, is it in the report, the court
Yes, Chair.
judgment?
Chair,
Khawume ndoda ndithetha noSukers. Khawuye ki-order ngoku.
No, Chairperson, Chairperson, you cannot run the meetings if it's something that is outside of Parliament. And
So all of us must not.
No, but Chairperson.
You can't call me to order because I'm the lightweight.
No, I'm calling the order, Chair, because you're chairing the meeting. They're supposed to be steering and guiding the meeting as per the rules of Parliament. The procedures of Parliament are very clear. The minutes are there. We come deal with the report, discuss it, ask questions today, then consider the adoption. Now, if I come and sit here and I ask questions and I make points on the report, a member must be allowed to do that.
Even if they are not in the
Or
report?
disagree.
Even if they are not in the report?
They are referring you to something that could have implications in the report. You must allow them to make the point that whether you're
We are correcting the report. We'll come to that. She can raise it.
then he is going to make the point that she needs
No,
to
but don't tell me how to chair also.
But it's parliamentary rules. It's not about you chairing. It's parliamentary rules. How we proceed in Parliament. Whether you like what I say or not, you allow somebody to make the point they need to make. It's as simple as that.
Okay. I saw wama ngo-9. Qhubeka Sukers.
Thank you, Chair. Public participation must be meaningful, and in the judgment of the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Bill, Parliament was found to have failed in its constitutional obligation to facilitate public involvement, and the Act was therefore found to be unconstitutional due to the manner in which the bill was adopted. Parliament has an obligation not only to ensure that the content of a bill is constitutional, but actually the process that we embark on, that is constitutional as well. The court noted in their judgment that public participation acts as a safeguard to prevent the interest of the marginalized being ignored or misrepresented. And I'm stressing the issue around constitutional muster in terms of process and in terms of the clause by clause. I have no desire whatsoever to delay the process. I am here. And I cannot say more than that. But in terms of the report, Chair,
Chair, I thought you said we must correct the report so that we can adopt the report and move. Now we are listening to honorable members making their speeches and the comments that they have prepared to come and delay this process. Can I move to adopt the report as Honorable Mogasetla has actually second as Honorable Mogasetla has adopted the report? Thank you, Chair.
Are you done, Sukers? Are you done correcting the report, Sukers?
I am not correcting only the report, Chair. I'm correcting the report and I'm engaging the report as is per the rules of this Parliament and what is my job as a parliamentary member. It is my job. I do not understand this. And we cannot continue to do that. We make ourselves guilty as Parliament. We can't do what is being done as with members continuing to call a point of order on a matter where I am addressing, Chair. I'm asking you, Chair.
Can I ask you now, as Sukers and at once, can I ask Sukers? I think you are done with corrections. Any second to principal?
I'm not done with corrections.
Yes. Honorable Yawa?
Sorry.
Chair, I would like to second the move to adopt with corrections. In particular, on the calculations on page 37, there is a discrepancy between the total number and the numbers on the asterisks. So can we get that corrected so that we do not adopt the report with that flaw in it? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. The report is adopted. Can we now,
No, order, Chairperson. Chairperson.
with the amendments?
Chairperson.
Can we now move to
Chairperson. Chairperson.
the
Chairperson.
BELA?
Chairperson.
What is this report?
Point of order, Chairperson. That's
Financial
Chairperson.
implications.
Point of order.
Chairperson.
You have now botched the process completely. You've botched the process. You've broken the rules of Parliament in terms of us being able to engage reports of Parliament, seeking clarity, seeking questions,
You've
engaging the
done
report.
that.
I haven't even gotten responses. How do you adopt something? There's still questions that are standing there on the same report. They have not been responded to by the parliamentary team. How are we going to adopt something? Clarity seeking questions. It's every report we've done in Parliament, including DBE. We ask questions. They respond to us. If we've got follow-ups, we write follow-ups, or we ask them for follow-ups. Now you want to rush to adopt a report that's got one discrepancy. Our questions are not responded to. Now you want to botch the process yourself. Having guided in the beginning that we need to safeguard the process.
You know, safeguarding this process should be both ways. You can't safeguard by correcting others, and then you would not want. We were supposed to adopt this report last week, but members had an issue that they did not have adequate time. Now you are raising issues that needs to be corrected into the report. And these poor officials now must respond to that. Now, for the sake of justice, I will request that they look into these matters, they correct them as you have raised them. And then we move on to the next report, to the next presentation, because the report is adopted.
On a point of order, Chair.
I'm chairing wrong. Can we move to your objection to the
Please
report?
note our objection to the
The
report,
report, yes.
and the entire process that you have now embarked upon this morning
Okay.
of watching the entire process of the BELA Bill.
Okay.
No financial implications on it.
Okay.
There's no parliamentary legal services.
Okay. Financial
You have now-
implication is coming. Is it not coming?
There's no parliamentary legal services report. You have now not even allowed us to get responses on the questions on the discrepancy of this, because you want to push through the bill. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and go and do that.
Okay.
We won't participate in a process that is going to implicate millions of our children and parents by taking away rights of them being able to participate in this process, and you botch it like this. It's really, really not right, Chairperson. We're members of Parliament. We're representatives of the people. We're supposed to at least make sure that the process we embark on is the correct one.
Okay.
Because if we embark on
We
a
have
correct
noted
process,
your objection.
yeah, let's just
Thank you
note
very
our
much.
objection,
So my objection also, Chairperson.
Thank you very much.
Chair.
Your
Please.
objection also?
And Chair, I want for the record to say that my rights as a member of Parliament has been restricted, and in accordance to the Privileges and the Powers and Privileges Act, that it is not allowed what has been happened here. I was not allowed to comment on further engage on this report. I was interrupted. Other members were recognized to speak in my stead. And Chair, I object to this report on the basis that this report does not do justice to the constitutional obligation that we have to consider every single public submission that was made here. Neither were we, as in our oversight function as Parliament, have we been receiving a reply on the issues that we wanted to raise. I object on the report and on the numbers that have been
Noted.
presented
Thank you.
here.
Can we go to the report of DPE? Can you flight it? Thank you very much. Go well, comrades and friends. We've adopted. Do you think that we are? You think that we are John? Can we move to the next presentation? The strategy we knew from last week is coming. You are moving out. March out.
I have no desire to march out.
March out. March out. March out. We knew of it.
Go well, go share.
Gee. Populism up in nonsense.
Good night.